What's going on, guys? Marco here with Dynasty Nerds, and I am bringing you my Week 6 start-sit running backs. All right, guys, so I'm going to kick it off with my sits here, and one of them is probably obvious. A lot of people are frustrated after his Week 5 performance, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think his time has finally come where, the bottom is going to start falling out. He's got some tough matchups ahead, especially in Week 6. It's another tough matchup like he had in Week 5. And really, his efficiency didn't make sense. It was always going to come back down to earth. His rushing ability has just been lacking all season long. His rushing opportunity has been lacking all season long. And really what we've seen is he's taken advantage of game script. He's taken advantage of some softer defenses. And I think that's kind of now until maybe like Week 15, if you look at his schedule. There's not a ton of matchups you're really excited about for him. So CEH is a sit. At the very, very least, he is a fade for me. I don't think you can expect RB1. I really don't think you can expect RB2 numbers in Week 6. Of course, if he gets into the end zone, that's a game changer, but I just don't foresee that for CEH. He just looked hyper replaceable in this offense. And that's kind of what we've seen from CEH just across his entire career. The Chiefs have never really needed CEH, and especially against tough defenses, we're going to see more and more of that. His inefficiency had to catch up to him, and I think, Week 5 was the beginning of that. Maybe Week 15, you get a good week out of him, but it might be time to go ahead and put him into your flex, put him, on your bench, maybe see if you can kick the tires on a trade opportunity with CEH if someone's really buying for some reason. But CEH is a hard sit for me in Week 6. Let's talk about two guys here in my sit fade category. The first one, you're probably not sitting him at all. I don't think you have the ability to, but it hurts right now with him in your roster, and it's Najee Harris. He's going against Tampa Bay, which is an even better defense than he played in Week 5. Ultimately, Najee Harris in this offense just is not seeing the efficiency numbers. He's not even seeing the efficiency numbers he had last year, which were also underwhelming. That combined with just his work in the passing down, in the passing game, it's just not adding up for Najee Harris to be a viable option. He's an RB2, like a low-end RB2 right now, and against Tampa Bay in Week 6, he's probably more of an RB3. Again, you can't really sit him in most cases, but you just can't expect him to really give you a ton of value. I'm projecting less than double digits. Maybe he gets to that 10-point fantasy production week for Week 6, but he's got to get in the end zone, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Kenny Pickett is a step up of for sure from Mitch Trubisky, but he's just got some tough matchups in the Bills and now, the Bucs. So Najee Harris is a guy you're fading in this week, and if you find a manager who somehow believes in him at this point in redraft leagues, try to make an offer. Dynasty leagues, you might be able to get enough to make a move from a guy like Najee Harris. All right, the other guy I just want to mention, because it's a guy who you're probably like, well, last week was a bummer, and ultimately he's been not efficient at all outside of a few big runs and falling into the end zone a couple times, but it's James Robinson. He is the rest of the season fade for me. He's got some nice weeks ahead, but ultimately James Robinson against the Indianapolis Colts defense, I think we might be kind of reaching the limit of where James Robinson's going to be. Of course, you didn't have to invest a lot in him in your drafts in most cases, even in dynasty leagues in most cases. So you're not really hurting by putting him on your bench, but he's seen less and less work each week. He's been less and less involved each week, and his efficiency numbers continue to drop week over week. He leads the league in plays that have produced 2 yards or less, and that's out of every running back in the NFL who's seen, reasonable amount of touches. So James Robinson is a guy who is an enormous fade right now. He really shouldn't be in your lineups unless you've got a cake matchup ahead. And even that, with how good Travis Etienne's look, just how fresh Travis Etienne has looked, I don't think we're going to see a lot of James Robinson going forward, even if he sees 40% of the touches. What is that really producing when he's averaging such a horrible efficiency rates across, on the ground and through the air? So James Robinson is a hard fade for me in Week 6 and honestly beyond. All right, so let's jump into my starts. But before we do, I want to remind you, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We have tons of content coming out each and every single week. Follow me on Twitter at Marco_14P. My DMs are always open to answer any questions, whether they be Dynasty or Redraft. I love helping you guys win, so feel free to follow me over there. And if you want 15% off the Nerd Herd, the GM tool, the extra podcast episode, tons of extra content, use the link in the description below for 15% off, or you can use the promo code 14P. That's the number 14 and then the capital letter P, and that can get you 15% off as well. So let's jump into my starts for week 6, and one of them is really obvious. He was my start last week and it worked out for him. It's Rhamondre Stevenson. He is now probably a top 15 running back with upside from now until probably week 12. Damian Harris is going to come back, but by then, Rhamondre Stevenson's probably run away with this job. He was already, before the Damian Harris injury, getting a majority of the work, and now he's going to see even more or even higher of a snap rate. He's going to be more involved through the air, more involved through the ground. He's going to be probably scoring touchdowns because they've got an incredible schedule going forward. He's a top 15 running back, and if you've got him on your bench, if you've been stashing him, or even he's been playing in the flex, you are going to be really happy with the next couple of weeks production. I mean, now through week 12, that's at least 6 weeks where there might be a bye in there. So 5 weeks where he is probably going to help you win your matchups week in and week out. Rhamondre Stevenson is a perpetual start, and we'll revisit in week 12. All right, the next one is another guy who's benefited from injury, and of course, prayers up for Rashad Penny. We hope that he can get back next year and get right. But the reality is, Kenneth Walker now is the running back for the Seattle Seahawks, and it's an offense that's looked much better with Geno Smith than anyone was expecting. He's probably going to average 12 to 15 touches a game, and he was one of the running backs coming out this year that everyone was hyped about, rightfully so. He is a very, very good runner. He can do it through the air. Even though people were doubting that, he's going to be involved through the air. He's going to be involved on the ground. Obviously, some other running backs might kind of get in here, but like I said, 12 to 15 touches a game is going to produce RB2 numbers, likely for Kenneth Walker, with upside, especially if this offense keeps clicking and keeps running at such a fast clip that, no one was really expecting. So Kenneth Walker sees an enormous boost in volume, and this is why you drafted him late in your redraft leagues. This is why you drafted him early in your dynasty rookie drafts. It's Kenneth Walker's time to shine, and I think he's going to show out for you in week 6. All right, guys, those are my running back start sit questions. If you've got specific questions, drop them in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at Marco_14P, and I'll get to any questions that you guys might have. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to be kind, do good, and I'll see you next time. Peace.